Don't play with things that go boom. Lessons from my days in olive drab by Clint Morey, Specialist 4th Class, retired. Well, not actually retired. It's more like I didn't re-up. Returning to Hawk Hill. Now, my time at the 91st Evacuation Hospital was over, and it was time to return home. Home being the aid station at the 3rd of the 82nd Artillery Unit on Hawk Hill. Now, as much as I enjoyed learning new skills and procedures at the 91st Evacuation Hospital, there was something comforting about returning to the familiar routines and camaraderie of Hawk Hill, and it didn't take long to settle back into the rhythm of daily life. Then one day, an officer in our battalion decided to organize a MedCap program. Now, I wasn't sure if he was genuinely wanting to do something good for the Vietnamese people, or if he was simply trying to earn brownie points for his career advancement. But whatever the reason, he asked for volunteers to go on a MedCap mission. The doctor and a couple of us medics, myself included, agreed to go. But just what was MedCap? Well, MedCap stood for Medical Civic Action Program. It was a mission where we provided medical assistance to South Vietnamese civilians. And as part of this initiative, a group of medical personnel would visit rural villages to treat illnesses and injuries. Now, during the Vietnam War, MedCap was a vital part of the Army's effort to win the hearts and minds of the Vietnamese people by addressing their health care needs. Many rural Vietnamese communities lacked access to basic health care, making the MedCap program a crucial lifeline for treating illnesses and injuries that would otherwise go untreated. My goal, however, was simpler. I just wanted to help people who needed help. We were sent to a small farming village far from any military bases that I was familiar with. I took that as a good sign, hoping it meant that the area was safe. The villagers seemed genuinely glad to see us. They lined up, waiting patiently for their turn to be treated. And there were wounds of various types. Most were minor cuts and infections that we medics could handle, but some villagers required more intensive care, which kept the doctor busy. The MedCap program may have been just a small effort in the grand scheme of things, but I thought it was an incredibly positive effort, and I have to admit it felt good to help. And then, without warning, everything changed. We worked for several hours, attending to all who sought care, and as we were wrapping up and gathering our gear to leave, an explosion shattered the relative calm of the day. Everyone in the village froze. We didn't know if we were being attacked or what. We saw smoke rising from a field, and people began screaming and running. Some farmers apparently had set off a landmine, and several were lying on the ground. Villagers rushed out to bring their wounded friends back to us. The doctor quickly assessed each of them, prioritizing who needed immediate care. He began working on the most seriously injured, while the rest of us started on those who could wait. And I was assigned to a man who appeared stable and was lower on that priority list. The doctor instructed me to get him bandaged and assured me he'd work on him once the others were taken care of. Now, at first glance, the farmer's wound seemed minor. There was a small opening in his abdomen with only a tiny bit of intestine protruding, barely 1/8 of an inch. But as I began to work on him, the situation changed rapidly. The pressure inside his abdomen caused several feet of intestine to slowly push through the wound, unraveling and coiling around itself like one of those fireworks snakes that I used to watch as a kid. Now, it was mesmerizing, but it was also a harsh reminder of how fragile and unpredictable battlefield injuries could be. His intestines formed a large circular mound atop his belly, and I knew I had to act quickly to protect the exposed organs and prevent further damage or contamination. I called out to the doctor, and when he saw the extent of the injury, my patient immediately became the top priority. Fortunately, the doctor managed to stabilize him and prepare him for a medevac flight to the hospital. Later, I learned that the man survived surgery, though he ended up needing a colostomy, a procedure which a part of the large intestine is brought through an opening in the abdominal wall to create a stoma, which allows waste to exit into a detachable pouch. Now, I was relieved that we had been there that day. Without our MedCap mission, that farmer would have died. It was a stark reminder that even in war, our efforts could make a profound difference in someone's life. Now, there were a couple of lessons that I learned during this period. First, even in difficult times, and war qualifies as a difficult time, both for the soldiers and the civilians, but even in difficult times, look for opportunities to help other people. Compassion can shine even in the darkest of moments, and sometimes it's in those moments that kindness can have the biggest impact. Another lesson: know or understand that God is in charge. Now, we had not planned on saving anyone's life that day. We were just going to go fix a few simple wounds. But because we were there at that time, on that day, a farmer was able to live. It was a powerful reminder that often we're placed by God exactly where we need to be, even when we don't understand why.